When Roman legions first landed on the shores of Britain, they expected resistance. They expected fierce tribes, unfamiliar terrain, and brutal fighting. What they did not expect were the dogs. Enormous, broad-chested, unflinching. Dogs that charged into battle alongside British warriors, dragging men from horseback, panicking cavalry horses, and refusing to retreat even when wounded. These animals would leave such a deep impression on Rome that they would influence Roman warfare, spectacle, and breeding for centuries. This is the story of how Rome encountered the ancestors of the English Mastiff, and how that encounter helped shape one of the most feared war dogs of the ancient world, the Canis Pugnax. Long before Roman contact, the Celtic tribes of Britain bred large, powerful dogs for guarding, hunting, and war. These dogs were not companions in the modern sense. They were assets used to protect settlements, hunt dangerous game such as wild boar, and intimidate rival tribes. Archaeological finds and Roman descriptions suggest these dogs were massive even by ancient standards. They had heavy bone, wide skulls, deep chests, and an instinct to confront rather than flee. In battle, they were used to disrupt enemy formations, attack horses, and spread fear before warriors ever closed in. To the Britons, these dogs were symbols of strength and prestige. To Rome, they were something else entirely. The first Roman contact with Britain occurred during the expeditions of Julius Caesar in the mid-1st century BCE. While Caesar's own writings focus largely on military tactics, later Roman authors filled in details about the shock Roman soldiers experienced, particularly when facing British war dogs. These dogs fought as part of the battle, not as an afterthought. They ran ahead of warriors, attacked exposed limbs, bit shields, and caused panic among Roman cavalry horses unfamiliar with animal combat. The Romans were used to dogs, but not dogs like this. The ancestors of the English Mastiff were larger, heavier, and more aggressive than the hunting and guard dogs commonly seen in the Mediterranean world. Their sheer presence alone had a psychological impact on Roman troops. Rome was an empire built on adaptation. When it encountered something effective, it studied it, and then absorbed it. After Britain was fully incorporated into the Roman Empire, English Mastiff-type dogs became a valuable export. They were captured, traded, and bred for use across the empire. These dogs were employed as guards for military camps and estates, protectors of prisoners, and high-value sites. Roman writers such as Strabo and Symmachus described British dogs as astonishingly powerful, noting that Roman audiences were shocked by their size and aggression. Some accounts even suggest Romans believed these dogs must have been trained specifically for war, as they seemed unnaturally fearless. Owning such a dog became a symbol of prestige, proof of control over something wild and formidable. Rome already possessed large dogs of its own. From Greece and Epirus came the Molossian dogs, ancient guardians known for their size, loyalty, and intelligence. These dogs were excellent protectors, but lacked the sheer mass and aggression displayed by the English Mastiff-type dogs from Britain. Rather than replacing one with the other, Roman breeders combined them. English Mastiff dogs were crossed with Molossians to create a new type of animal, one that retained the Molossians' trainability and discipline while inheriting the English Mastiff's size, power, and intimidating presence. This was not accidental breeding. It was deliberate, controlled, and purposeful. The result of this breeding was the Canis Pugnax, meaning fighting dog. These dogs were trained from an early age for violence under command. They were conditioned to ignore pain, noise, and chaos, charging on signal and targeting vulnerable points such as faces, arms, and horses. In battle, Canis Pugnax dogs often wore spiked collars to protect their throats and prevent enemies from grabbing them. Some historical sources also suggest the use of leather or metal armor in certain contexts. They marched with Roman legions across Europe, into Gaul, Germania, and even back into Britain itself. In a twist of history, Rome used dogs descended from the English Mastiff to help conquer the very land they came from. Not all Canis Pugnax fought on the battlefield. Many were sent to Roman amphitheaters, where they were used in public spectacles against gladiators, wild animals such as lions and bears, and other dogs. These displays were brutal and symbolic, intended to demonstrate Rome's dominance over nature itself. Yet even among Rome's many fighting animals, dogs of English Mastiff descent stood out. Roman sources repeatedly describe them as unusually dangerous and awe-inspiring, capable of standing their ground against animals that would overwhelm lesser dogs. As the Western Roman Empire declined, the infrastructure required to maintain war dogs disappeared. Breeding programs collapsed, and the Canis Pugnax gradually vanished from history. But in Britain, the original dogs remained. The English Mastiff continued to guard land, protect homes, and hunt large game through the Anglo-Saxon period and into the Middle Ages. Over time, selective breeding shifted their temperament, reducing battlefield aggression while retaining size, strength, and loyalty. The result was the modern English Mastiff, calmer, steadier, but still carrying the physical legacy of its ancient ancestors. The English Mastiff is not simply a large dog. It is the descendant of animals that shocked Roman legions, inspired imperial breeding programs, helped shape one of the most formidable war dogs in ancient history. The Romans did not invent the English Mastiff, but they recognized its power and transformed it into a weapon. From the battlefields of ancient Britain to the arenas of Rome, the legacy of these dogs endures. Massive, quiet, and unforgettable. History is not written only by emperors and generals. Sometimes, it is written by dogs.